Our next speaker this morning is going to address the theme, Stepping Up to the Changing World, the Asian Century. He needs no introduction again to our... Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry, we're still on technology. And our next speaker who is stepping up and talking to the changing world at technologies again needs no introduction. Fiona Fell, who's head of the department in 3D Studies, the School of Arts and Social Sciences at Southern Cross University in New South Wales. And she's going to talk on sculpted, scanned and screened. Thank you very much.
Although my current work goes beyond any strict labelling, I consider myself a sculptor, installation and new media artist who happens to use clay as one of her media. My training as an artist is firmly grounded in the traditional practice of figurative ceramic sculpture. Theoretically, I have profited from my professional engagement with visual arts at the Southern Cross University, where I have taught for some time, whereas my practice-based research has developed both in my studio and through residencies nationally as well as abroad. I've worked on solo and group projects and exhibitions for around 20 years, in which I've moved from a more traditional approach towards clay as a medium in applied and creative arts into a mixed media field. My ongoing investigation aims to broach new terrains and adapt and rewrite traditional ceramic practice through interdisciplinary collaborations with new media. Scanning technologies applied to ceramic sculpture form an important part of my current research, which is the area I will address in this brief paper. My first artistic contact with scanning technology was a literal instance of border crossing and subsequent arrival. A security check at an airport as I was travelling from one country to another. In order to cross the frontier, my hand luggage was scanned and the on-screen image revealed, in challenging ways, the presence of a sculpture I was carrying in my bag. Fascinated by the novel sight of the same old object sitting as an unborn child in an externalised womb, I decided that this inner vision deserved following up. At geographical border crossings, people and objects are under scrutiny, turned inside out to realise their inner meaning. Dangers are detected and secrets are revealed. In border crossing situations, we move from one into another symbolic order, while attempting to establish a discrete, safe discourse of the self against an alien other. Yet there is an uncanny slippage in the liminal space that leads us from one order to another. Old securities dissipate, new ones are put into place, and both end up soliciting each other and establishing meaning as fluid. Rather than delivering an ultimate scientific truth or confirming an essence, scanning may dissolve the certainties that underpin our daily lives and help us find new meaning and self-expression and embodiment. My first explorations into these creative possibilities of scanning were made in collaboration with digital artist and painter Lyndall Adams in a series of projects that employed a simple flat-top scanner in which the imagery of my 3D work kept a sense of three-dimensionality as it retained a shadow described by the curvature of the coils. From there, I moved on to more sophisticated medical technologies. To me, X-ray and CAT scanning started out as purely an aesthetic experience, but in hindsight, it has exposed a hybrid myriad of connections and possibilities. I have since worked, excuse me. I have since worked deeper into this project by making work that is more conducive to the scanning process. using body parts that slot into the ceramic figures, testing clay at different stages of vitrification, and identifying appropriate density settings. The material of clay has a similar density to bone, so that when X-rayed, an internal landscape is revealed and traces of fingerprints and imperfections exposed. These processes show a direct relationship between the image and object, external and internal gestures, and it is this direct interplay that informs my current practice and research. Thus, scanning technologies have become fundamental to the articulation of my art, but so have they for other artists' expressive vocabularies. Contemporary artists have realised scanning's creative potential and incorporated it into their artistic toolkit and vocabulary as part of an ongoing investigation into the multi-layered nature of reality. Artists may employ scan imaging either as the point of arrival of an artistic project or as means by which a larger installation is achieved. They may proceed from established artistic backgrounds, often photography, or conversely move from science backgrounds into the terrain of art by exploring the creative possibilities of these technologies. To illustrate this, I will show work by some contemporary artists that have integrated scan technologies in their research and output. The image here by New York photographer David Massale employs scanning technology on museum pieces from antiquity to collapse the distinction of the past and the present and draws us into a shadowy in-between space of experience where moving forward equals moving backwards. British photographer Hugh Turvey uses X-ray technology to overcome the defamiliarisation and resulting fear the hospital experience generates in patients, and so steers away from a certain spectral mystique that work by other X-ray artists may suggest. The Scottish veterinarian Mark Pennell, based in WA, has developed work from taking X-rays of animals with broken and shattered bones, roadkills, and diseased and decaying animals. He searches beneath the surface of beauty, meaning and understanding, whilst reflecting on the darker side of society's relationships with animals. The Italian architect Renato Manganetti, a designer, performance artist, was one of the pioneers of the X-ray technology. So he operates in a field where technical devices and nature can cohabit and cooperate. The work of British artist Marilyn Oliver comments on the ins and outs of the digital age and its resulting disembodiment. It goes beyond the two-dimensionality of the digital image and aims for the productive merger of different techniques into 3D art. Oliver uses the 3D printer with CCT scanning machines to flesh out her installations. None of the previous artists really addressed the world of ceramic sculpture, and I find myself here sort of treading new ground. For one thing, my latest work with new media has become more performative as well as installation-like. One such project includes video recordings with scripts where the artists and sculptors perform, such as in La Obra Perfecta, shown in several film festivals. Another creative outcome, Interior Insight, was shown at a conference in Barcelona, a collaboration between Kelly O'Dempsey, Andre Martis and myself, where video footage was inserted into a fabricated cardboard CCT scanning machine, acting as a structural device holding the video footage. The third project involves soundscapes derived from working with clay, such as the pouring of slip, the slapping of clay being formed, sanding, scraping through to vitrified clay falling and smashing. This particular work in progress involves matching light to the object's firing temperature. The slide you can see here is an image of Loan's Marrow. For me, the technology is exposing the feeling of firing the work. So We all know as potters we can't sleep when we've got work in the kiln. Yeah, and this is a video that kind of shimmers, you know, on the screen, and it's kind of like, you know, maybe about 500 degrees. My latest project, which I will just activate here, which you can see on the screen, involves recording the visual deconstructivist effects of laser exploration on the body of the sculptures and the sculpted. Tracing the three-dimensionality of the body and sculpted piece, a new universe originates in which a monochrome landscape of red hues and their shadows merge. The animate and inanimate skin merge, the animate and inanimate skin. The effects are puzzling and suggestive and imply a further approximation between the artist and their work, in which the body and piece cradle and create each other. Julia Lackey neatly sums up the deconstructivist, but also reconstructivist potential of scan technologies when applied to artistic expression. Rather than seeing the resulting artwork as the point of arrival of meaning, she views such artworks as players in a larger circuit of generating understanding around the interior views of the body, as imaging technologies make previously unseen spaces accessible to the gaze. The vistas generated by them become slippery terrains. The domain of contemporary conceptual art is one of the very few spaces in which medical scientific practices can appear in their visual complexity, but dislodge from their normal referential terrain. This is to say that their application in the arts lift these technologies out of the limited discourse of analytical application and inserts them in the fuzzy terrain of interdisciplinarity, in which new meaning and functions can be generated. Clay slip becomes slippery. Through scanning applied in the arts, borders and limits become uncanny, porous to interpretation and deconstructive critique. The search for discrete essence and truth as escapulated and separated by animate and inanimate surfaces is problematized. The scanned image is offered up as the flat representation of shallower, deeper below-the-surface realities, which belie the very two-dimensionality of surface appearances. Otherwise invisible details, elements and structures are put into play and perspective, and they challenge the limitations of human perception, yet they also offer new, exciting ways of apprehending embodiment and the tangible world that surrounds us. The video kind of goes more than I speak, but this will just kind of finish off. So it is about kind of, you know, exposing, using new technology to expose a sort of the poetics or the sensorial field that underlies the making of work.
Thank you.
Thank you.